Okay, today we have topic 5, which is liquid staking derivatives. In short, it's LSD. So what it is all about? Maybe a lot of you know that September 15th last year there was the so-called the merge. What was it? It was actually when Ethereum blockchain moved to so-called beacon chain, and since that time, actually Ethereum is no more proof of work consensus blockchain. It is proof of stake consensus blockchain. So what does it mean, proof of work and proof of stake? Proof of work. Actually, Bitcoin is the first proof of work consensus algorithm. And what it means that every time we have new block, actually the so-called miners, they resolve a certain puzzle, mathematical puzzle. They are looking for a special, actually, number. And to find this number, we need enormous, actually, a lot of calculations. So that is why we need so-called ASICs, special equipment which calculate these hashes. So finding the correct hash, that's the job of the miners. And as soon as we find this hash, we can actually resolve our puzzle, and we can produce next block on the blockchain. So that is proof of work. But the consequence of this competition between miners, because everyone wants to find this block, if you find this solution for this puzzle, then you get a reward. In Bitcoins, it was initially 50 rewards. Now it's much less. It's halving almost every 4 years. And the competition leads to this type of, I would say, industry. That's the factory, lots of miners, and enormous consumption of electricity. But there is another consensus algorithm, which is proof of stake. What do we mean when we say proof of stake? Proof of stake is when we have so-called stakes. So it's when every validator on the network stakes certain amount of coins. So we have Ross, Joy, and Rachel. And then, according to a specific function, this function randomly picks the validator who will produce the next block for our blockchain. And as soon as he or she is doing it, then everyone else, all other validators, in our case, the Joy was chosen, and then Ross and Rachel is checking if everything is correct in this block. And if it is, then Joy gets the reward for the block. And if it's not, then the Joy is slashed, and he might lose all the coins, the staked coins on the network. So again, the difference between proof of work and proof of stake is that in proof of work, you simply need a huge amount of electricity, special equipment to find a certain number, and that's it. And you spend this electricity with the just to find this number. And on the other hand, on the proof of stake, it's a quite different story. You just stake quite substantial amount of coins for the Ethereum. It's minimum 32 ethers for each validator, and if you are doing something wrong, then you simply, other validators are slashing you, and the network is punishing you for actually behaving not in a wrong manner. So that's the proof of work. Proof of stake, sorry. Again, proof of work consensus, miners complete to solve the puzzle, and proof of stake, we stake tokens and we are proposing the blocks. If we go to the reasoning why Ethereum moved from proof of work to proof of stake, of course, first of all, it's 99.95 percent higher efficiency, energy efficiency. So it's less electricity, requires significantly less electricity for actually protecting the network from attacks. So that's the huge advantage. Then more validators, more decentralization. Why I'd say more validators in proof of stake than the proof of work? Because you might think that if everyone putting one actually so-called minor rig, then he or she might take part in proof of work consensus, and then it will be completely decentralized. But that's not how it happens in reality, because with you, with your this mining machine, small one with quite limited capacity in terms of hashes per second, you might try to get your reward for maybe a few years, and therefore these small miners, they're combining into so-called huge mining pools. And when all of them connect to one pool, or let's say 5, then actually just 5 participants proposing the blocks and producing the blocks for the chain. And as soon as one of these mining pools will be higher than 30, maybe even if it's higher than 50%, then we might not say that the network is secure anymore. That's a problem. So for the proof of stake, it's a little bit different. We need these nodes. We might connect them into certain networks. We'll talk about it later, but still it's more decentralized. And of course, more improved security guarantees, because proof of stake, let's say, slash you for different wrong behavior. So it's like more guarantees for the network. What else happened to the Ethereum after this transition to proof of stake from proof of work? We know that the maximum amount of Bitcoin which might be issued is just 21 million. And today, inflation is lower and lower, but there will be no more than 21 million. But the number of Bitcoins increasing every 10 minutes. For Ethereum, it's a different story. Before this merge, actually Ethereum was inflationary token, because we have to, the network has to pay for its protection to the miners who spend a lot of electricity. Now we have 99% less electricity. There is no need to pay so much more. We pay much less. And in connection, combining effects of Ethereum improvement proposal, which burns part of the fees on the network, actually we have the decreasing supply of Ether in the network. It was about 120 million. Now it's less and less. So this is actually what happened after the merge. For a certain period of time, there was a certain increase in supply, but after that, it's decreasing, because the more network is used, the more fees are burned, and the fees which are burned, actually the amount is more than the reward to these validators in the proof of stake system. Why do we stake Ether? So if we stake Ether, we get these rewards as validators. And here we see these 2 lines. The blue curve is actually the number of staked Ethers in the network, and the red curve is APY, is the annual percentage yield which we get from the staking. And we see that if the amount of staked Ether is low, then we have high profit APY, and the more we stake, the less APY we get as validators. Now I think that we're more than 10, maybe 20, maybe a little bit more. So we have about 3 to 4% APY for the Ethereum which we stake. But the problem with this is that if you have these 32 ethers, then you stake it with the node, and that's it. And you wait for this reward for some block and some time, which will come, and you cannot use your effort anymore. So the point behind liquid staking is that actually you get another token, and then this token can be used almost as Ethereum. So if you had 10 Ethereums after the staking, you again have about 10 Ethereums of liquidity plus this staking rewards. How can we stake effort? We have a few options. Actually, we will talk about so-called the third one, the staking pools, where we can join with the minimum of almost 1 cent in effort of assets. Of course, we pay fees to these staking pools, and yes, they're custodial but transparent. You can actually do the same with the exchanges. You can stake Ethereum on Coinbase, Binance. I don't know if it's possible on Kraken because there are some problems with this. And of course, you can be a self-run validator node. But of course, you need 32 ethers. It's completely decentralized. You have a risk of slashing infrastructure failure. And of course, you have to understand what you're doing, because you need expertise and hardware equipment to do this. So let's move closer to this third option with the liquid staking protocols. We have much more, but I will just talk about the three, actually: Lido, Rocket Pool, and Frax. Coinbase, that's the exchange, that's a centralized solution. Lido was the first one. They have 10% fee. Rocket Pool 15%, and the Frax 10%. Stake-wise is also one of the options. So that's the amount of Ethereum which was staked in with the different options. So today, liquid staking is about 40% of the whole staked effort, which means that the rest is maybe that's the self-run node, maybe something else, but we have this 40%, and this share is increasing. And of course, we see that the Lido, that's the blue one, has the largest market share of the whole staking market. We start with the Lido protocol and what it is. This is what you see as soon as you get to their website, but now the rate is lower, of course, because more effort is staked, especially after the previous Ethereum network upgrade, which let withdraw staked Ethereum, because before this upgrade, it was not possible. You could only stake that was only one direction movement, but now you can unstake, so you can pull. You can get your effort out of staking, out of the node. Almost $9 billion was staked with the Lido protocol. And what is important is that when you stake your Ethereum, you get so-called ST-ETH or ST token. Lido working not only with Ethereum. Ethereum is the largest operation of the Lido, but you might stake with Solana, with the Lido, with the Matic, and some other networks. But the principle is everywhere is the same. So you send your real effort to the protocol, to the smart contract of the protocol, and you get ST-ETH token back. And how it works? We've been talking when we were discussing lending protocols, the so-called interest-bearing tokens. Here, this is the second idea of the tokens. What else exists in this DeFi metaverse is actually so-called rebasing tokens. Rebasing tokens are a type of digital asset that are actually adjusting their supply in response to change in their price, to maintain a stable value or peg to a specific asset. And there is a mechanism so-called rebasing, which adjusts the total supply in circulation of these tokens. So what does it mean in practice? Imagine you have rebasing tokens, maybe stable coin. And if the price of stable coin is increasing, according to the peg, according to the US dollar, for example, then what happens? Rebasing happens. Negative rebasing, which means that the number of tokens in your wallet is decreasing. So imagine today you have 10 tokens. Actually token is the pegging. We have rebasing, and next day you have not 10, but you have 9. On the next day, again, actually the market goes in the opposite direction, and we again rebasing, and you have not 8, you have 11 tokens. So the number of tokens changing in your wallet. So this is what happens with rebasing tokens, which is not possible with the interest-bearing tokens, because interest-bearing tokens, they're like having the same number of tokens on your wallet, but the value of these tokens during the time is increasing or maybe decreasing. So ST-ETH is exactly this token, ERC20 token with rebase. And what happens every day, the number ST-ETH represents Ethereum that is staked on Lido. The total amount of this staked ETH reflects the amount of Ethereum deposited into the Lido system combined with the staking rewards minus potential validator fines, which might happen, which might not happen. So again, due to the fact that every day, I would say 40 seconds, there is a chance that Lido validator get the reward for the next block, the number of Ethereum is increasing. And according to this increase, we need to add additional ST-ETH into the system. So we need to rebase this token. And as I told you, since the 15th of May, Lido launched the second version of their protocol where you can actually burn your ST-ETH and get the real effort with the 1-to-1 ratio. So now let's go to the way how we actually calculate this Ethereum, this ST-ETH. Again, we calculate it according to your share in the pool. So we have a certain amount of ST. Your, I would say, share in the pool. For example, you just have 10% of the pool, and your share is stable. But as soon as we have more ST-ETH in the system, because we have more ETH in the system, then according to this 10%, you have more ST-ETH in your wallet. So this is how it works. But in the Lido ecosystem, we also have so-called wrapped ST-ETH, wrapped staked Ethereum. So this is interest-bearing token. And why we need this token? Because it's quite it's not easy to work with this rebasing token on lending protocols, but it's much more easy to work as a supply token with the interest-bearing token. And this wrapped staked effort is exactly this token, which actually represents your share of ST-ETH, the total supply. So again, the number of wrapped ST-ETH is not changing in your wallet, but after a certain period of time, you might get for the same amount of wrapped ST-ETH more simple ST-ETH. So this is how it works. This is the example. Let's suppose user wraps 1 ST-ETH and gets 0.98 wrapped ST-ETH. So there is a ratio 1 ST-ETH to 0.98 WSTETH. Then we have rebase, and maybe for 1 month, the price of wrapped STETH is going up by 5%. Again, the amount of wrapped STETH is not changing in your wallet, but when after a month you come and try to exchange your wrapped STETH to the simple STETH, you get more, and you get not 1 STETH, but you get 1.0588 STETH. So this is exactly what happens, and that is why wrapped STETH is quite useful when we talk about using it in the lending protocols. I was talking that you could always actually exchange your STETH to the real Ethereum. And where is this liquidity? For the Lido, this is the curve pool. And you see that on curve at the moment when I took the screenshot, there was more than 1.5 billion of liquidity. And you see that for 50% of STETH, you have 49% of ETH. So if you wanted, this is the example, I was trying to like change 10 Ethereums to STETH, and I just get a little bit more STETH for my 10 Ethereums, and I will do it backwards, so I just get a little bit less Ethereum. So it's almost 1:1. So that's the idea of liquidity and liquid staking. You stake your Ethereum, but you get another token, STETH, or you can wrap it and get wrap STETH, and this is your liquidity. You are not losing it. And plus, you are getting these rewards from the staking in the proof of stake Ethereum system. Even more complex concept is so-called leveraged ETH staking. So what it is? The idea here is that if we combine 2 protocols, for example, Lido protocol and lending protocol Aave, in this case, we might use actually so-called leverage to increase our staking rewards. How do we do it? We might do the same this thing. We have, for example, 1 Ether of liquidity. Then what we do, we take flash loan on the balancer in so-called wrapped not the wrapped stake, but we go to the balancer protocol. We take flash loan and take, let's say, 10 Ethereum's flash loan. We have to turn it back in 1 block. That's how flash loans work, because we don't have any collateral. Then what we do, we actually change on AMM, maybe on Uniswap or on the balancer or on a curve. We change our 11 Ethereums to wrapped STETH. Then we take this wrapped STETH and put it into the Aave protocol, supply it into the Aave protocol as a deposit. And the last thing we do, we take a loan in Ethereum on Aave. We need 10 Ether to cover the loan. So we take this 10 Ether as a loan and pay back flash loan. That's all happens in 1 block. What we have as a result, we have as supply about 11 of wrapped STETH, and we have as a loan 10 Ethereums. We have supply which is increasing in value, and we have a loan which inherently, so Ethereum does not increase in value itself unless the price in US dollars, but that's not what we are talking about. We have only the borrow rate for the Ethereum. And if our actually staking reward rate is higher than the borrow rate on the market, then we get more on our leverage stake position. So this is what happens. And here you could see that net API is about 18%, almost 19%. In the previous slides, we saw that the profitability of staking on Lido is about 4.5%, but using this leverage Ethereum staking mechanic, we get three times more, even 4 times more profitability. But there are certain risks. If we have the problem of the pegging of our wrapped staked Ethereum, then we might fall into liquidation. On the other hand, if we have the borrow rate, which is increasing higher than our staked rate, again, we will start losing money. So this is the problems, but generally a lot of people lose it. So not lose it, but you can lose it, everything if you're liquidated. But a lot of people use it, even though I was myself using it on Arbitrum market. Aave for a long period of time was like 100% full. You cannot supply more wrapped staked Ethereum because it was actually it was filled for 100%. So this is leverage ETH staking, how to get more from Ethereum staking. And of course, Lido has a governance token, LDO, and you see the price. You can vote, you can do something, and maybe at a certain period of time, we remember that Lido has 10% fee for staking, and maybe part of this fee could be distributed between. Sorry, now I get back a little bit here. I started with the Rocket Pool. Just a quick reminder that we can stake with our own node and get higher reward, 7%. That's new. We don't have this option in Lido, and you can use it as the same way as in Lido, but you get lower rewards, 4%. We have rETH interest-bearing token. Again, how it's calculated, we take the whole supply of rETH, which we have in the protocol, divided by the total Ethereum staked, plus all our rewards, minus all our fines, and get this rate. The rate is updated every 24 hours, approximately. And how we calculate it, we did it a few times. Let's do it one more time. Interest-bearing token working, they work in a very simple way. We have, for example, since the beginning, 1 Ether, which is equal to 1 rEther. Then we deposit 10 Ethereums, get 10 Ether back. A few years, we sit in this position, we have this position, and let's say the total number of Ethereums Ether increased from 128 to 160 Ethers. And then we recalculate our ratio, and we see that for each rETH, because we have 10 rETH, we get 25% more Ethereum. So we can exchange our 10 rETH after a few years of staking to 12.9 Ethereums in return. So this is how interest-bearing mechanics work. Liquidity of Rocket Pool is on the balancer, so it's another not curve, but the balancer. And the Rocket Pool governance token is doing much better. So it's $40 at the time I was making the screenshot. Now maybe it's a little bit lower, but you see that in 2020, when everything started, it was close to $1. And our final protocol is the Frax protocol. We discussed Frax in stablecoins. We discussed Frax finance in lending protocols, and of course, the Frax has quite interesting proposal for liquid staking. So what did they propose? This painting looks a little bit complex, but actually it's quite simple to understand. We have user sends his effort to the minter contract and gets simple Frax if back. So I send, for example, 10 Ethereums to the contract, minter contract, and minter contract means me 10 Frax if. Then what happens? Actually, this minter contract collects 32 Ethereums and send it to validators. Validators working as a proof of stake in their proof of stake function, earning some fees, rewards from the protocol, and then they send this actually Ethereum to multi-sig treasury wallet. Multi-sig treasury wallet actually exchanges Ether for Frax Ether, and this Frax Ether goes to so-called staked Frax Ether vault contract. So here is the key idea of the whole system. As soon as you get simple FRX if, you will not and hold it in your wallet, you have this liquidity, but you don't have rewards from staking. If you want to get rewards, you need to stake this FRX if into special vault. And only after that, you will start getting rewards from staking. Why we need it? I will explain you why we need this two token system, the Frax if and stake Frax if. Frax Ether is actually a stable coin that is loosely pegged to ETH. So this is the huge advantage. So everyone understands that one Frax ETH will always be equal to one ETH. So that's a great advantage. And we can use this in maybe a lot of other applications with a lot of other protocols. And stake Frax ETH is interest-bearing token, but it's a special one. It's built according to standard ERC 3626. That's the vault, and it lets accumulate revenue from staking. And we have, as you see, higher profitability. Now it's not so high, but still, it's on average it's higher than in Lido and the Rocket Pool. Here it's 6.4%, but why it's higher? Actually, it's higher because part of this FRX if is locked into curve pool. And they actually work for supplying and liquidity to the curve pool. And you can go to this pool. Here we see that it's more than 100 million US dollars and exchange FRX ETH to the ETH. But what we see on this picture, we see that actually from all Frax ETH in the system, only about 61% is staked. What does it mean? It means that actually only 61% of Ethereum holders of the protocol get the 100. Only 60% of Ethereum holders with the staked FRX ETH get rewards for 100% of the nodes, and therefore actually the profitability of Frax as a staking option is higher than all other protocols. Whereas the rest actually in the curve pool and provide liquidity. But why people are interested actually not stake their FRX ETH and get staking rewards, but use it in the curve pool? They do it because you see here that the FRX ETH and ETH curve profitability is 7%, while the staking reward is only 6%. So the profitability is higher. So they choose this option. They say that 40% of the holders of rETH say, we do not want to obtain rewards for the staking, but we better take our rETH, put it into the curve pool and get 7% rewards for this option. And 60% say that's okay, I want to get these rewards, but this 60% get rewards for themselves, and for the 40% which say we don't want. And on average, the profitability of the Frax effort is higher. So this higher profitability is built into the protocol, and it's possible only because Frax has this novel scheme, the model of 2 tokens, not 1 token, because in the Rocket Pool we only have rETH. In the Lido we have 2, but actually we have Rebasing Token, which is quite complex. We have wrapped ST-ETH, which is more simple to understand, but still you cannot get this advantage of having additional profitability due to choice of some of the participants of the protocols not to receive staking rewards. Again, liquidity is in a curve pool, and you see that if we want to exchange 10 effort to the Frax, if we get this 10, but a little bit more, and almost 1-to-1. Exchange is almost 1-to-1. You have the balance if you want to check the balance sheet of rETH, how it's calculated. So that's it. Now, if you have questions, please ask.
Do you have some questions? Okay, so I think we can finish our lecture for today. Wait for materials and tasks in the classroom. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.